Today we'll be doing a very special aero test, probably the most important one that we'll be doing this year. And that is for the current Hungarian national time trial champion, Barnabas Peak. Barney has contacted me after the nationals to help him source top-end time trial bike and complete time trial setup, as he has been selected to race the European and World Championships this year. But if you've been shopping around for stuff like this, then you probably know that it's not the simplest thing to manage in such short time. So my idea was, since I'm not really racing this year anymore because of my overtraining and health issues, I'll not really be needing my personal Colnago. So he came over for a quick bike fit to check if we can make my bike actually work for him. And it turns out that our setup is not all that different. And because of that reason, I have proposed him to borrow or lend him my bike for the events and for testing. So today will be the first part, and hopefully the only one, because I'm planning to do the complete process with him this year, or today, sorry, not this year, today. So he can ride on his fully optimized setup for the next month and a half or so in his preparation as well. But for the front end, obviously we had to adapt to the fact that even though his saddle height is not much more or not much higher than mine, his front end setup is quite a bit higher, because he has a different upper body proportion, so he doesn't need a whole lot of drop to make himself into a very aerodynamic shape. And for that, I have designed a modular system for the Colnago TT1. Just a reminder, if you buy this frame set, well, it's not really consumer friendly because you don't get any aero bar setup. You get a bare frame with just the base bar and nothing in it. So the bars themselves are my Spicos. These are my own custom-made ones that I've been using from the factor Hansa already. And these are adapted to this bike with not much modification, to be honest. And for that, we have developed this riser system. I already had a few risers on my own, but now it's a completely adjustable modular set that we had manufactured using our supplier that produces all of our parts. So before we start the testing and talk you through the process, I just want to show you this one, because if you have this bike, you might need, or you will most likely need, something like this. And I'm quite happy with the results. So if you provide us with the measurements, then we can get a set for you as well. Because we need to do testing, it also includes the bridge, which the Aero sensor mounts onto. As this is a fully integrated setup, there's just nowhere else to put the sensor in a stable and central location. So that's why I had to resort to this custom mount. It combines with the Triaric poly mount as well for the arm, and it extends nicely to the front, ahead of the bike. It's completely in clean air, essentially. So you can get really precise measurements, and also the base is very stiff, so you get no wobble and vibration. So this is our mounting system. Obviously, if you're not using this, then you can also use it for a GoPro or a light or whatever, but we have it primarily for testing reasons. The other sensors fit onto the bike relatively simply because, yeah, here we have the body sensor, and there's a regular speed sensor, and of course we have power meters in the pedals, because there's no way around that with the non-power cranks that we're using at the moment. So this is our setup. So it's the Colnago in the race spec, completely integrated water bottle. On the back, we also have the Garmin, which records our aerodynamic data from the sensors. It's also mounted neatly on this watch shop behind the saddle mount. So everything is set up. Now let's have a look at the riser kit itself, because I think it's really quite cool. Okay, so here is the riser kit itself, and I'm going to explain how it works. So The Aero bar that we have doesn't have a threaded mount. The way you mount it on the Hanzo is that you take M5 bolts and clamp it onto this wing shape that slides on the fork steerer. So it needed to go off from that. This ties us into two M5 bolts on the top of the riser, and sandwiched between the bar and the riser is the Aero sensor mount, or the stiffening bridge also, which you could have seen just a few moments ago. So that's the first part. The bottom section, again, on the other half, is the base bar itself. From there, two M6 bolts go up on each side. Again, there's no thread. So the other side of the riser also needs to be threaded. So these were the two main constraints that we needed to match with our design. So the first prototype was this one. And it's shaped basically around the section that is already present on the base bar, so it's kind of an airflow shape, and as you can see, it's quite thick. So this was done in a height and offset to match my Hanzo position. And basically it's down to the millimeters. So this is what we went off with. And it also has a 10mm bore on the inside because we use a JC200 connector. So the whole base bar can be basically hot swapped without any changes to the cabling or any need to reroute anything. So it can be done really, really quickly. And that was one of my other constraints or design goals to be able to achieve that. So this is what we have. Then I proposed the second version. A bit more about the offset. So as I said, the Hanzo position was quite offset far forward. This frame is a bit longer, so we still need a bit of offset compared to the bolt holes, but not as much. This one has 10mm of offset. So then my second idea was to try to slim down the profile as much as possible in order to, in a way that still fits our parameters, which is this one here. It's been also painted, but this paint finish turned out to be not very durable. As you can see, the thread lock that we used completely softened the paint and made it, well, a bit ugly. So I'm going to remove that. That's also why the other ones are not painted. But anyway, this has even more offset forward, as you can see. And that's the reason for that is I wanted to try out a position that maxes out the UCI height or the length limit in the Aero bars, because nowadays it's quite trendy to try to push for a longer position in non-UCI events. So basically this creates a flatter profile for the ride in the frontal area. We have tested these in comparison, and unfortunately the longer position didn't work for me at all. It was actually quite slow. So we went back to the shorter version. And yeah, just to compensate for the fact that my arms are stretched forward like that, you can see that this motion creates the need for additional stack. So that's also why these are taller. Now, these are all single-piece solid items made to the exact specification that I have listed in terms of the stack and the reach figure. Because of the offset and the reach extension, it's also a bit tricky to manufacture them. You need a whole lot of material, etc. So this was not really a very cost-effective solution to have them all in these individual pieces like that. And the downside, of course, that you need a lot of material to create different setups. So that's why I went one step further with my current design. Also, it needed to accommodate the fact that we need a mounting system for the Aero sensors. So that's another 5mm of stack that we need to add regardless. So then we have the final version now that I've been trialing out already, and we had some good testing process. So my first idea was to create the same offset and same stack as with these, as with the original position, just to check if actually the wider profile doesn't have the effect of basically shielding my legs aerodynamic, so it would actually create less drag despite the added frontal area. This didn't prove to be correct, so we stuck with the slim design, the slimmest possible that we can fit on this bike. And you can also see that it's lower, despite the fact that I say that it matches the setup. So we removed 5 millimeters to compensate for the bridge, and I removed an additional 5 millimeters so we can experiment with lower stack figures than that. And the adjustment comes from these little sandwiching bits that come in between. So these are our pieces which actually make the whole system modular. So normally you would just have this bolted straight on top of the base bar. But if you introduce pieces which enable you to stack the whole system without removing anything from the top, so these just go on the bottom of the base bar and have 6 millimeter through holes, which enable you to stack them and increase the stack very quickly with just removing those 4 bolts. Obviously, you need to keep an eye on having the correct bolt length. So to complement this, I've also sourced a full set of M6 bolts. So we have sizes ranging from 25 millimeters all the way to 100 in 5 millimeter increments. I'll need to go up to 120 to match Barney's setup, but I need some cutting tools for that. So with this setup, we can basically have a huge amount of stack adjustment and also different reach adjustments. So the reach adjustment is done via offset in the threaded bits, as you can see. So here we have a completely vertical one with 0 offset, and then we have a set with a 10 mil offset, and we also have the set with the 25 mil offset, or was it 15? I'm not really sure at this point, but this one has the most offset you can have within the UCI rules. So this is our basis, and then using the bolts, the various lengths, and the stackers with no thread, we can adjust your desired position. So we have basically 5 millimeter reach increments and 5 millimeter stack increments in the whole range of sizes. So this is what the setup consists of. And as you can see, this is Barney's setup at the moment. Since he's using quite a lot of stack for his setup, this is a position that exactly matches his cube TT bike that we've done before. So as you can see, we have the bridge sandwiched in between the bar and the threaded riser. This is a 110 threaded riser. And we need an overall stack of 125 for him, which effectively means that we have the 110, this makes it 115, and then we can still play around with the base. So as you can see, this is a 10 millimeter non-threaded insert. So we can go down 10 millimeters and we can go up a lot more than that. So we have a range of adjustments there. And if I then decide to test different reach options, then of course I can just combine the other threaded inserts, the lower ones, with the long bolts and the non-threaded risers. So this is how it works in practice. So just to demonstrate the situation that we have there on now. So you have these kind of bolts going up in the base bar, and then we have these sandwich on top, or even we can just mount this straight on the base bar, and you adjust the stack height with that. You can add, of course, multiple variations to make adjustments, and as I said, this is all done very quickly because we have a connector for the cable that you can just disconnect, and you can hot swap these and you're good to go. So this is the full-on AAR setup that we have for the Colnago. And basically we can make, since we now have all the measurements and how it's supposed to work and stack up, everything you need to create your setup if you're interested. Of course, you can play around with different bolt arrangements. Some bars have 6mm bolts. Also for this clamping, there are many different options. So this is how we can do it. With this setup now, this will be our baseline, and then we'll of course try different variations throughout our test today. We also have some helmets that we haven't tested with him before. We have some different wheels that we haven't tested with him before. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do. I'm hoping to get him into really low CDA numbers so he can pull off a great result. He's already done a top 20 in the worlds earlier, I think, but that setup wasn't nearly as optimized as this one. And he has a really, really great power to CDA. So I'm hoping just to max it out as much as possible and yeah, get some good results out of him. So let's now do the testing itself. Okay guys, so now we're out at our testing venue, which we always use for this purpose. Barney is here also, just getting ready. The bike is set up, the sensors are set up. I have written out the baseline for him using the matte helmet, which he has been using so far, and we tested previously to be the fastest for him. But since then we have a few more options with the new helmet arrivals that we got this year. So we're going to run through those and then we'll start making changes first. As we have established the helmet, I want to make changes to the stack height. We can go both lower and higher. So we'll test what is fastest, and we have a different front wheel that we want to test as well. And if all that is done and we still have some time left, then I want to play around with the different reach adjustment spacers that I have shown you in the earlier part of the video. So this will be our protocol for today. We're using a different part of the track because this one is more sheltered from the wind. Although luckily today we have basically zero wind at this point, and we have a turnaround point at 2.2 kilometers. So we have a nice long steady run where you can ride uninterrupted. It's Monday, so there likely won't be any traffic here on the cycle track. So all the conditions should be perfect for today's test. And hopefully we can test out as many things as possible so we know the best possible solution and setup for him.
Hey, what up, say? One time for the hometown, I got love for it, that's real. Yeah. 2 times for the haters, man, cause I notice how this shit feel. 3 times for my family, dog, cause this shit done paid our bills. And I get 4 times my net worth from a year ago with no deals. Did it all by myself.
We have the first part of the test behind us now. We've tested all the various helmets that I brought out, and the fastest ones seem to be the Sweet Protection Redeemer and the size large Casque Mistral, which is, I would say it's surprising, but it's not. So we'll move forward with the Casque for now, and right now I want to try going a bit lower with the bars. Then maybe if that doesn't go in the direction we want, then we will try to go higher, but I doubt that that would help because we are already pretty tall in the stack. And if you manage to find the stack with this setup, then we'll treat it as the new baseline, and from there I want to move on with extending the reach with the other threaded adapters. So yeah, these will be the steps that we'll go forward with, but so far I'm happy with the results. This setup is extremely fast already as it is, so I'm happy with that. Obviously we'll still have some details to fine tune, but yeah, we're on the right track for sure.
legendary.
Okay guys, so now we are concluding the test with Barney and we have some really excellent results. So helmet wise, it was the Casque Mistral in size large again. That's proven to be the faster option, and we have also tried different stack height options and different offset options for the reach. The reach options didn't work, they were all a lot slower than the zero offset version, so we stuck with that and optimized the stack height around it. And we found a sweet spot with 150 millimeters of stack that worked just the best CDA and fit wise also. Going below that worsened the CDA dramatically, going above that worsened the CDA dramatically. So yeah, we have found the optimum helmet and position, so I'm really happy with all of that. Now we sent him out for a threshold test run just to see if he can put the power out, to check how stable he is in this new position, new-ish, because there isn't a whole lot of change compared to the previous one. But yeah, we have a really fast setup and he's in good form as well, so I wish him the best for the World Champs and really rooting for him so he can make a good result, hopefully in the top 20 or higher. And obviously we'll know about that in a month or so. So that's all for today. I hope you have found this entertaining or informational. If you want to have your own setup dialed or need your own Colnago dialed with the rises, etc., everything you've seen here we can do for you as well to optimize and get the best out of you, aerodynamically speaking, as well. So if you're interested in that, then check out the links below for our website. Thanks for watching and see you next time.